Hey guys, so I made a few small beads in this shape and design, but I'm not sure if I'm going to put those on Facebook, or I don't know if I'm going to put the YouTube on those. I may just make a big one for you. So I am using this little olive shape, but it is absolutely huge. This would be perfect for a pendant, but I'm trying to think of maybe putting a base of a transparent down first, and that way I'm not wasting so much of premium glass, if that makes sense. So here is a pale aqua. I'm going to go ahead and put this down. The only problem is when you put down a base transparent, that a lot of times you don't get the opaqueness of the other glass. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen with this. But I want to show you my Japanese garden bead. I usually make these round or drum shape, but I'm now getting to the point where I'm just making different shapes for actual jewelry pieces. This is making basically a footprint, because like I said, this is one thick bead. So sometimes when you're making really big beads, just put a cheap glass on underneath it and then put your expensive on top. Go a little longer. It also keeps your bead much more stiff, because transparent is a lot stiffer than regular opaque glass. Alright, so let's just see where we're at. Do one more swipe with this, especially in the center. I have never used transparent underneath this color, so I'm hoping that the base doesn't come through the other side. That's good. See, it still doesn't even touch, so this should be okay, I'm hoping. I haven't made one of these in a long time. So now we're going to put this glass, and this is a Creation is Messy rod, and it is icy, excuse me, the hiccups. It's an icy mint green. I'm keeping the main bead out of the flame and just heating up the rod itself. Okay, and since I didn't go all the way to the end, I should be able to do that. That way none of the clear comes out on the other side, and I will clean this up. There we go. on this side. Okay, and again, we're just going to build this up. Okay. You can see the big difference in the color. So we're going to let this cool a little bit just to see how much that transparent color is coming out. So we're just going to sit this here for a minute. I don't know if you can see it or not. Hopefully with a couple more coats you won't even be able to see that transparent. More. So I have a rod holder somewhere because this one's getting a little small, so we might have to attach it to something here. So again, we're just going to let it cool, see what we got here. Starting to get some green. So we're just going to kind of melt that down. And I'm trying to put force on it in order to spread it, but I don't want to put too much force on it that it breaks the bead release on the side. Get a little hot here. Don't mind me, I'm trying to find something to hold this. I don't know what I did with it. Amazing you can have so many tools, but yet you don't have any of them in front of you when you're working on stuff. So I may just have to grab another rod. Alright, let's see where we're at. So we're starting to get there. Let me see how easy it will be to grab. This is. Okay, so now we get a little bit more. should be enough coverage to where I don't see any of that clear. Now we're going to shape it before we put our decorations on it. Side. And this side's a little bit short. As you can see, we got about 4 millimeters. The hardest part on this is to gauge how much glass to put in, because if you're gonna put decorations on it, you still got to make sure that it fits in the mold. Okay, so we got the length that we want. All right, so I think that's good enough. I know it's a little bare here, so I'm just gonna do one more. Okay. And now we're going to grab some stringer that I just made. It's not the one I just made though. So I know it wasn't black. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do with this is we're just going to make some swirls. And they don't have to be perfect. Just adding a little bit of decoration here. More right here. Okay. So now we got these pretty little vines. Gonna melt all of those down. Like we can still add a little more of this to the bottom. You'll be able to see where you're off just by looking at it. Okay, so now that we have our vines, we're going to add some flowers. Here, still not as much as it should be, but I don't want to go too much more or I'm going to end up being past where I need to be on this. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now the fun part begins. So we're going to take this piece right here, because we got this beautiful open spot. And we're going to make 5 dots. 2. Kind of like a circle. 5 dots right here. Go right up here. Go right here. You can do a couple, you can do a whole bunch. I'm gonna make a real small one right there. I did forget the little orange. Excuse me if I'm leaning. I want a little orange here. I'm thinking this is orange. I'm hoping it's orange. I'm going to go ahead and melt this all down. And I'll show you a picture of what it looks like. We can get this to, there we go. Now we're going to use some pink gold Rubino. You got to work this really high because of the gold content in the glass. It burns very easy and turns a metallic black, so I don't want that. Reason why you don't want to fit that mold. Wow, my hands, it's funny, my hands are fine, but I hit a certain angle and it's on the nerve and it just makes my hand like just shake. This is why you didn't want to fill the cavity all the way up, because every piece of glass and dot that you add will add more to the volume. Show you what that looks like. Now we're going to melt all of it down. I'm going to add a little bit more oxygen to hopefully keep the black from forming. Yeah, my hand obviously shook on this one because it didn't quite make it on the pedal. Couple of those like that. But having a little bit of white showing is really pretty too, so I'm not really concerned. Alright, so now we're just going to melt that glass in. see it really light up on certain areas of the dot, that's the gold in it, and that's what can make it turn black. So it's the only thing I'm worried about. But I don't want to turn the propane up anymore because I don't want to destroy it. So we'll just slowly go back and forth. Okay, and as I do that, to give the flower a little bit of dimension, I'm going to push right in the center. Okay, this one did not turn pink. This is a striking glass. So the more you strike it, the more pink you should get out of it. This one just wasn't struck enough. So I got that one. Melt that all the way back down, and then we'll probably add a couple orange dots in the middle. You want your flowers to be really tight. There's a couple of them that aren't, that I'm noticing. He's fine, he should be okay. This one probably could have used to be a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to try and do is just add a little bit of white right there, and we're going to top that up with some pink. And something is burning, I am aware. I probably just put my glass rod on paper. I did, so that's going to smolder for a little bit. Okay, so now that we got it almost all the way in there, we're going to roll it, but we're going to roll it very carefully. So you're going to have to let it cool just a little bit, because if you roll it while it's red hot, you will distort your flowers. So I'm just kind of pushing it in, getting it back where it should be. And as you can see, the more you press, the more bead release will break. There's a little spot right there that it decided to climb on. You don't want to get that stuck in there. Okay, so gonna do that again. That's what we want it to do. And then if we want the tops really sharp, just do the top, and you can bring it to the one underneath, kind of square off that end to make it more like an olive shape. Do that on the bottom. Too hard, and I'm not really happy with this, what I did with this flower petal. So I'm gonna hide it again. so I just want to get this end done, and then I'll start adding a couple orange dots here. Alright. So, we're going to do the sides first because these are going to be melted in. So, there is no pattern. We're just putting a couple little dots here and there. There. It just kind of throws in a little highlights. Alright, so now we're going to melt all that down. Okay. All those are melted down. Gonna wait a minute, and then we're gonna roll it. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna look. Try and get that one even, because it's not. It's not wanting me to make the top a little square. So I'm just going to heat that up and put it in that top one right there. Gives me a little more room to do that. But I'm seriously not happy with the bottom one. And I don't know why. It's just off to me. So we're going to try and make it a little more thin. And then we're going to try and do it in there. Alright, well, that's about the best I can do. So we're going to heat this up really good. And then I'm going to add just some orange dots to the middle of the flower. And I should be done. Just want to give it a nice little bath. Make sure there's no cracks or anything in there. Okay. So now let's add some center here. Right there. This is really where you need a steady hand. And you can't put the dots on until after you're pretty much done with the flowers, because you're not going to be able to roll it again. And now I'm just looking for my handy dandy brass tool. Lay those down a little bit to make sure they are connected really well onto the bead. It's always good to count how many flowers you have. That way you know if you've missed them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I've got all of them, so I'm going to just check. There's 3, there's 4. Alright, so I have got them all. So now what we're going to do is round those tops off again. Okay, make sure the rest of the bead is nice. And you're done. I really can't show this to you, unfortunately. I will show it to you when it comes out of the kiln. Yeah, I had to move some beads around in the kiln, so let me heat this up really quick. I'm going to be laying them right on top. And this and a few spacers I will sell usually for about 40 bucks. And it will be on my desert bead shack as soon as I'm done with it. So that's it. I'm just going to make a couple spacer beads really quick. I might do some in that pink. And I don't know yet. I'll make maybe 4 spacers. 4 in one color and 4 in another color. An orange would look good. The mint will look good, obviously. This way, when I sell the beads, they've got a few spacers to add in there for coordinating colors. I'll show you how I make my spacers. Trying to find my spacer. Like I said, I'm making a bunch of well, these are not it. It's a long one. I'm trying to make a bunch of molds for clay, and I've been using these as my example. There we go. You know, because wouldn't it be nice to make a roller for beads, for clay beads? So I'm trying to do that so that we can make even spacers at all times. And I'm thinking of putting 2 across the top. And if it works, it's going to be fantastic. I'm right now working on a teardrop shape and just a barrel shape. Down around me. I like making spacers because there's no thought to them, but I can make like 3 to 4 on one rod, which really helps. But you've got to always make sure you come back to the other one. Don't let that cool down, and then go back to the other one. So 3 or 4 is about as much as I can handle. I know people that'll do the whole rod. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they keep all of them warm, but they manage it. I'm just not that good. I'd rather have a few that I don't screw up than making a whole lot and having a couple of them go bad. Okay, so I'm not sure if I want 2 or 3. Big container full of about 100 sets of spacers, but I don't think I have the mint green, which is why I am doing this now. Okay, so use just a little more on both, actually. So we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, when I mean a little more, it's just there. Okay, so that one's done. As well as that one. Alrighty, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Probably make a couple more of these and figure out what other color to add for that necklace. And we will see you later on this week. So take care.